Hi everybody, so today I've got a Gucci review. I've got the brand new skin tint from Gucci, plus I've got their matte compact powder to try out today. So I've tried this a tiny bit, not much really, and I've never tried this. So this will be a complete first impression with a wear test this evening so you can see how this wears on me. So I really can't wait to show you how these look and to find out for myself. And if you're new here, hi, my name's Hannah, I'm 48, I'm not a professional, I'm just somebody who really loves makeup and beauty, and here on my channel I show you the latest releases, my favourite looks, and give you any beauty news you might be interested in. If you think you'd enjoy that content, I do upload here several times a week, and I would be ever so grateful if you did hit the subscribe button. A lot of people don't always subscribe, but they watch, so if you could, that would be super helpful to me. But if you're already subscribed, welcome back. I truly appreciate you for being here. And looking at my skin tone today for these products, I've got fair to light skin with predominantly cool undertones that can lean a little bit neutral, and I've got blue eyes, not that that's particularly helpful in this review, but I do have combination skin which is predominantly dry with a slightly oily T-zone. Anyway, that is enough about me. Let's dive straight into this Gucci review. So let's start with the Gucci Glow Skin Tint. So here is the packaging, and you get 20 shades of this. It costs £41 and you get 40 millilitres. This one is made in Italy and it has a 12-month shelf life. So I've gone for the shade, what have I gone for? Fair 11. So I don't know if that's going to be too light. I think I might have gone for the actual lightest in the whole range. But this is described as, let me see, well, it's not really giving me an awful lot of details here because I've got it off the Selfridges website, not the Gucci, which means that it's limited information, but it just says how to apply it, spreading it with your fingers, it says, in a GG gesture. What is a GG gesture? Anyone know what that means? A Gucci glow gesture? What's a Gucci glow gesture? Okay, I'll try a GG gesture. I'll think of something. Right, from both hands, from the centre of the forehead down to the chin, from the chin up to the nose, from the nose to the cheeks outwards. That's quite a lot of description there, explaining what to do, isn't it? I've never heard that before. Blend the texture with fingers from both hands, from the centre of the face outwards. Okay, should we try that today? And this has skincare benefits. It's got a formula with hyaluronic acid giving you all-day hydration. It improves skin texture and provides skin with a healthy looking glow over time. It's lightweight, but it gives you buildable coverage that feels like a second skin. So let's see. I can't really give this a shape when it's in a tube. It's a proper like squeezy tube. So can I literally just, yeah, okay. The shade looks okay for me, you know. I don't know how much I'm likely to need, so I'm putting sort of tiny little dabs there. So wait a minute, what was the GG gesture? Fingers from both hands, from the centre of the forehead, okay, down to the chin. Well, I can't do that in one sweep, can I? I think, gosh, that does blend in with the fingers, doesn't it? I don't like doing it with my fingers, but seeing as that's what Gucci's saying, let's give it a go. Gosh, that does go on very well. Look at the redness on my nose there, because what I'll do is I'll just rub it in on this side. So they definitely want me to go, oh, that's too much, isn't it? Too much product on my nose, that's my fault. Anyway, let's see if I can just rub this in like a nice skincare without it becoming cakey and heavy, in case you make that same mistake. And also, let's see the redness compared to this side if I just rub in this side of the face. Yeah, that's rubbing in really nicely. So what am I supposed to do? From the nose area out, from the centre of the face out. See, I tend to go for the centre of the face after, because I don't like starting with the product on the centre, because I need to be very lightweight with product in the centre, my T-zone. But anyway, we're going with the GG gesture here. Honestly, if anyone knows what that means, you're probably laughing at me right now because I haven't got a clue. Anyway, do you know what? This is quite decent coverage for a skin tint. Now, there'll be quite a few people who'll be saying, why are we getting a skin tint now when we're heading into autumn? Well, some people like to wear skin tint all year. I know a lot of my subscribers with mature skin, my age and above, prefer to wear a skin tint all year round because it's just so much better on mature skin, because heavier, thicker foundations and matte foundations can be just so difficult to wear. Our skin just doesn't approve of it. So for some people, skin tints are very much becoming an all year round thing. But also we are heading into spring and summer if you're in Australia or other parts of the world which are heading into those seasons. So I know that lots of my viewers are from Europe, the US, UK, but not all of my viewers are. Some of you may be in Australia and other nearby areas, and you're all heading into spring, summer, so you're very much looking for that lightweight skin tint. So in some ways it's a good thing that they're launching them now, because I do think it must get very frustrating for countries like Australia when all the products that launch are all aimed at autumn and you're heading into spring. So a little bit of fairness there is quite a good thing as well, I think. But anyway, with my hands, I feel like I actually don't maybe need a brush. Maybe I do around the nose a little bit. That's really not bad. I think what I'll do is I'll use my Rapha brush on the other side to see the difference. But I think that's gone on very well. And look how my redness has just disappeared. If you look at the redness here, around my nose and everywhere, and then look at it here, that really has gone, hasn't it? And very comfortable. It is lightweight, but it's also not the lightest of skin tints. I would say it's like a thick cream almost. It's like a thick moisturiser. Very pleasant. It doesn't feel heavy once it's on, but it's not like one of those super thin ones. If you look at something like the Chanel Water Fresh, for instance, that one is lighter. This one does feel like more of a thick cream. Just to get a hair off my brush there. So I'm using here my Rapha LCO3, which is very good for this sort of formula. And you can see on the nose it's just a bit smoother using the brush, because here it's still sort of clinging in a bit of a patchy way. So I probably do need to stick with brush application around the nose area. In all honesty, I'd probably stick with brush application, full stop, because it's more of a polished look. You can certainly start it with your fingers and then finish with the brush, but if you like the idea of fingers only, I wouldn't put a dot on your nose. Personally, I would put a dot here and here and start in the cheeks, and then with what's left on your fingers move to the nose, because if you're like me and you have a trouble T-zone, it's not a great thing to do to put a dot on the nose and work your way out, even if that does mean I'm arguing with the GG rules here. But anyway, look at that. That is really nice. It's giving me a nice bit of radiance as well. I'm going to take, which brush have I got here? I want to take this brush from Rapha. This one's actually discontinued, but I've kept it because it's so good, the B01. I'll take a little bit of the skin tint on the back of my hands and rub a little bit into that, and then go around the brows, which is something I always do these days, if I've got time. Just have that slightly more precise edge there. I think that's it, you know. I don't think I really need to work on that at all. How quick was that? Nice lightweight coverage. It does say it's buildable though. I don't really feel like I want to build anymore, if I'm going to be honest. I feel like I've got quite a decent coating, and any more would start to feel heavy. But for the purpose of review, I will put a little bit more on the back of my hand and just build it into the areas where I do like to cover a bit more. So you can still see a little bit of redness in my cheek here. So let's just tap a tiny bit more there to see if it is buildable and covering more. And it is. So it's buildable as well. Buildable, I would say it's not the most radiant of skin tints that I've ever tried. It's somewhere in the middle, I would say, between one of the really radiant shiny ones, like the Lisa Eldridge, for instance. It's almost like a product that's in between a foundation and a skin tint. So it is lightweight, but it's a little bit thicker than the really lightweight ones. The coverage is a little bit more as well. So if you're someone who loves skin tints, but you wish they gave you a tiny bit more coverage, this could be the one for you. I think it's beautiful, actually. Very happy with my shade. The only thing is, if this is the absolute lightest from the shade range, which it was when I got mine, then if you're even lighter than me, you may find that there isn't one for you. Although I am quite light, to be honest, but there are certainly people out there who have lighter skin than me. But they are quite flexible skin tints, aren't they? So you can usually warm them up with a bit of bronzer and things like that. So hopefully, if you do get it, you'll be able to make it work, because I really like this. I'm just going to put a bit of contour and concealer on, and the next step then will be to look at this powder. So I'll just finish all this and we'll be back to try the powder, but so far absolutely loving this. What do you think? So I'm finished now with my concealer, my contour, a tiny little bit of liquid blush. So I'm going to try this powder now from Gucci. So let's have a look at the packaging. Very, very beautiful, very sort of classic Gucci packaging, in line with their bronzers and other products like that. What else have they got in this packaging? It's bronzer and one other, isn't it? Anyway, it looks just like their bronzer packaging. It comes with a very nice sleeve. I'm not someone who raves about sleeves, but as sleeves go, that is quite pretty. And you do like to take a powder out with you, so I do think that sleeve is worth keeping, and it's very nice for on the go. In fact, this is a lovely one for on the go. It really is beautiful, isn't it? So this is how it looks inside. So we have a nice mirror, and then straight away to the powder. It's a refillable one as well, so I haven't actually tried to get it out, but it's got this catch here, so you can just buy a refill. I'll check the price. Oh, there we are. It just literally pops. Oh, it does have a, oh dear me. Look, underneath there is a puff. So there we go. I thought it was strange there was no puff. So that could be for on-the-go touch-ups. I wouldn't use it when I'm using it at home, but I can see actually from using it just once that it has already got some of my foundation and concealer on the surface, which means it could hard pan quite easily. So I think this is definitely one you have to be very careful how wet your brush is when you're dipping in and out, which tells me this is going to be more of a finishing powder for me and a touch-up than an everyday all over. I do tend to use loose powders for most of my setting, but I do use at the moment Fenty powder for my under eyes. I don't always reach for loose. I've gone for one of the lightest shades in this one. I've gone for 000, but looking on the website on Selfridges, there is one that is 00.5, which is lighter, and there is also a 10, which looks like that is also lighter, bizarrely. In the picture it looks lighter. But 000 looks like it's the third lightest. Loads of them are out of stock on Selfridges, so if you're trying to get these, this one is still available. It's currently saying, as I'm filming this, there's 4 left, but I don't know exactly when this video is going out, so by the time you see this, they could be restocked or they could be fully sold out, but I'm sure it'll be on the Gucci website soon. So anyway, I will get my Nikki LaRose N14 brush, which is what I always use for under the eyes. Now, when I say I've tested this, I haven't tested it under the eyes. I've only tested it for setting like T-zone area, not under the eyes. So let's just tap in all of my concealer. I haven't given you any information on the product itself, have I? So I will just do the eyes and then I'll tell you a little bit more about the product. But let's zoom you in. And let's see how this goes. It certainly looks like the shade is going to be light enough to be a brightening shade. And from my first impression of it the other day, I did think it looked very polished and very blurred. The only thing I would say is, as you would expect really from this sort of powder, unlike having loose, you need a lot more of it if you really want to take away any sensation of tackiness from your products. And in my case today, that's been skincare plus a primer. I did actually use, which I probably should have mentioned, my Fenty hydrating primer today. So now we're moving into the cooler weather. I'm sticking to hydrating primers. So I already have quite a lot of skincare on, and then I'm going in with a skin tint. So this does need quite a lot of powder for me to feel it's not feeling tacky, so it depends how you feel. But for me personally, this is never going to be enough to get rid of that sensation. But underneath the eyes, it's looking pretty good. Considering under the eyes can be the most tricky area to apply a powder. Well, I can see it going into the lines a little bit there, which I don't see that instantly when I apply Fenty, to be honest, which tells me this is probably not going to be an under eye powder for me. I do like the fact they've got so many shades so you can match your skin tone. It's not a question of just having a fair, light, medium, dark option. There are lots and lots of different shade options. I think I've got the right shade option for me. Just seeing if I can... And hopefully I've just got a bit of concealer collected there. Yeah, actually, it doesn't look too bad. That is quite good, you know. So let me do the rest of my T-zone, but can you see the colour of this changing as it takes on the coating from my makeup? Which means I'm going to have to remove the surface. That drives me around the twist with using these sorts of powders. Because how are you not going to have a bit of product on it when you're doing what I'm doing? What do you do when this happens? Because you can see that's going to be completely discoloured and covered in foundation, skin tint, concealer soon, and I will have to get rid of the surface because it will fully hard pan. I know we can put sellotape on it and remove the surface, but is there a way of stopping that happening? Any tips, anyone? But yeah, in my T-zone, I think that that is giving a lovely soft blur, and it's quite an undetectable powder actually. I won't set the rest of my face yet, but I know for sure I'm going to want to reach for a loose powder, having tried it once. Let me just look at the product itself. I've got here the box, which have the ingredients. So if I hold the box up to you now, I'm hoping you'll be able to read them. And the first thing you'll notice is the very first ingredient in this is talc, which we haven't had in any of the new powders really that have launched, have we? So that's very, very unusual. The first ingredient is talc. Hopefully you could see that. If when you're looking now it's not readable, I'll place it in a picture format for you. Let's see what other information it's got on here about the product. So it's described as a mattifying setting powder. So for me, with a skin tint, I wouldn't want to do the rest of my face because it's going to completely mattify the effect of the skin tint and I'll lose all the radiance. But I will do that maybe just on one side of the face to show you. No, I will do both sides. Let's just give it the full test. But that does mean the skin tint will alter. So this has got a 12-month shelf life and you get 10 grams of product. It also says that this one is suitable for all skin types. After applying foundation, use the soft sponge applicator to dab the powder onto the face and set your makeup. That's all it says. It doesn't say anything else. It also doesn't say where it's made, but I'm guessing with it being Gucci, it's probably Italy. So, oh no, it does say, sorry, made in Italy. So I'll use my big BK Beauty brush. So if we look at this side of the face, you can see the sort of shine and gleam I'm getting from my skin tint. So if I get a good sweep of this now and set the rest of my face, and I'm hoping that this skin tint will sort of come through so that even if this does fully mattify me, I will still get a bit of a glow from the radiance. The radiance I had with the skin tint will still come through throughout the day, which often happens. Especially if I'm going for quite a light coat and a powder actually. So as much as I may want to add some loose powder today, I won't. I'll keep my headband on so my hair won't stick to my face. I think it still would, you know. Let me just test it. Yeah, see, even with the powder, my hair sticks to my face, and that's what I meant. I knew that with the skincare and the skin tint, that this powder is not likely to get rid of that tackiness. Unless I just go again and again and again and again. I could try that. Still a bit tacky. It is improving, but I'm having to use quite a lot of it, and I really don't think I would use it this way. I would definitely, my preference would be to set with loose powder and use this as your finishing, your touch up, your on the go. I think it would be really good for that, and that's certainly how I'll be testing it out now over the month of September. So do look out for my end of month review, and I'll let you know how I'm getting on with this and how I've managed to use it and how I found it, but that's definitely how I would do it. We had that one from Dior as well, so I need to keep testing that, but I will test this one as well. But I'm seeing the Dior one as a finishing powder very much as well, which is not a bad thing because I do like to have those. I've always kept a finishing powder on my desk and I always use loose powder. I love my powders. Let's see now with my hair. Yeah, there we go. It's working now, but I do need to apply more than is necessary, and I will whiz through the product if I try to get rid of the tackiness from something like the skin tint using a powder like this. So I won't be doing that because I will literally finish it in about 2 weeks. But no matter how much I've applied, I don't think it's started to get heavy or look like I've got a lot of makeup on at all. It's sitting really beautifully. This possibly a little bit there. It's a bit heavy. Maybe that's just because I didn't go in with a sponge enough to remove the product, because on this side it's not doing that. Let me see if I put more powder there, does it start to build and look heavy? No, maybe I just had a bit too much product there, but it does sit very lightly. It's like an invisible powder, and I wouldn't say it's fully mattified my face because I do still have a little bit of a glow. But look at that. It already feels like the only section that isn't hard panned is that bit in the middle. And that is the problem, doing it that way. So I'm going to have to take the surface off that one already. But anyway, like I said, don't use it like that. Use it as a finishing powder, I think. Or just for doing your T-zone. However much, if you just use a tiny amount of powder, I think that's what it'll work for. It's gone quite well under the eyes, so I think you could use this. If you're someone who only ever does under the eyes and a bit of the T-zone, this could be a really good option for you for a very lightweight, fairly natural looking, slightly blurring, not massively blurring, slightly blurring powder that doesn't look too heavy or too makeup-y, and it's very pretty to take out with you and use for daily touch-ups. If that's what you're looking for, I think you'll really like this. If, like me, you like to set the full face, this is not the product for that, in my opinion. But anyway, what do you think? So that's about it, really. That's all I've got to show you for today, but I will come back with a wear test. So I'll continue to do the rest of my makeup. I've got something else I need to review today, but I will come back to you later and we can see how all of this is looking and how it's worn. So I'll see you then. So I've reached the 9.5 hour check-in time, which wasn't set particularly, but that's the time I've reached. And the skin tint is worn really beautifully, actually. The only place I've got a bit of an issue is in the chin area. It does look a bit cakey and it has moved a bit. You can see I've got a bit of redness there, and it also does definitely look a bit cakey. But that was something that almost happened after I added the powder, so I do think without the powder, ironically, I probably would have been okay. I don't have any caking around the nose. I do feel a bit of oils coming through. I think on the whole, maybe using a hydrating primer wasn't a good move with this one because it's quite hydrating anyway. So you can see where I've worn my glasses when I've been editing that it's really sort of moved, and I think that the powder I used wasn't like my usual loose powder, which gives me much more of an absorbent quality, so it's not really absorbing it and keeping all of that at bay. But also having a hydrating primer with it might not be the best move. Having said that, if I don't use one this time of the year, I tend to get more issues with caking, so it's a little bit hard to find that balance. But I will have to try it with a loose powder, so I will definitely be trying it again throughout the month, and I'll let you know if I have more luck that way. Maybe without using the Gucci powder, I might actually get on better with the final look. But overall, I think it's very, very good. I love the courage I love the coverage it's given me. I love the way it's worn, actually. I think for a skin tint, it's really, really, really nice. The disappointment for me, I think, has to be this powder because, as I said, I tried it the other day and it was a bit of a nothing powder. It didn't do what the Fenty one does for me under the eyes. It didn't brighten, and it also didn't blur quite as nicely. I immediately had to fix by there, and I can definitely see my lines under my eyes a lot more than I can when I use the Fenty, or if recently I tested the Chanel powder, for instance. I just don't think it's worn as nicely, and my oils are coming through as though I haven't really put any powder on at all. So I think it's caused me a bit of caking, and it's also allowed my pores to come through and oils to come through in my T-zone, so it hasn't really done much. And it's also allowed the glasses mark, which is worse than usual, actually. Had I used my standard powders like the Givenchy loose, the YSL loose, the Fenty under the eye, I think everything would be looking a bit smoother and better, to be honest with you. So not massively impressed with the powder, which is a shame. Love the packaging, but I can't see this becoming a favourite. But I'm not going to give up on it. I will continue to use it. Maybe it'll have its place. And as I did say in the video, I see this as a finishing powder, so that's how I'll try it. So I will go in with my normal powders and then use it as a finishing powder, and then it might just come into its own. That's exactly the way I'm using the ones from Dior, and I love them for it. I really, really love them for it. But under eyes and for setting, no good for me at all. So using them as finishing powders, that's really good. And I do have a place in my regular routine on a daily basis for a finishing powder. But if you don't, you might be disappointed with this if you want it as an everyday touch-up powder. I think there's better ones out there. And personally, I'd be going with the Fenty all day long. It's much more affordable and it's so good. I love it. So So anyway, that is the end of my review. I'd give the skin tint, well, 9.5, 10 out of 10. I don't know why I'm saying 9.5. I think maybe I'm being a bit miserable because of the powder. I give it a 10 actually. The powder I would be quite mean. I'd give it maybe a 5 out of 10. Anyway, so that's 50-50 for a success, isn't it? I would love to hear your thoughts. Are you picking up either of these? And if you are, please do comment below and we can have a chat about it. I would love to hear. If you have enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed, I would love it if you did. But if you already have, thank you so much for being here at the end of another review. I really appreciate every single one of you, honestly. And I really hope to see you again for my next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.